Welcome back, Cowboys Nation, and thank you for tuning in to what might be one of the most surprising and eye-opening updates coming straight out of Oxnard. Just days before the highly anticipated 2025 preseason opener against the Los Angeles Rams, the Dallas Cowboys have officially released their depth chart, and it's raising eyebrows all across the NFL. While preseason depth charts are often fluid and subject to change, this one has shaken things up in a big way. Fans, analysts, and even players themselves have been reacting with everything from cautious optimism to outright shock. This isn't your typical early August formality. This is a statement, one that could set the tone for the entire season, and possibly even hint at some long-term shifts within the franchise. So let's break it all down, player by player, position by position, and analyze what this depth chart really tells us about the Cowboys' current direction and mindset heading into 2025. First and foremost, let's talk quarterbacks, where things took a surprising turn. Dak Prescott, as expected, is listed as the starter, which came as no surprise. But what did shock a lot of fans is who's directly behind him. Despite speculation that rookie Joe Milton III might immediately seize the QB2 spot due to his raw talent and rocket arm, the team has listed Cooper Rush as the backup for now. Joe Milton has been placed third on the chart, signaling that the coaching staff is taking a much more conservative developmental approach with him. This might be a wise decision considering his inconsistency during practice sessions, but for fans hoping to see fireworks from Milton right away, this is a bit of a letdown. That said, don't count Milton out. He's still showing flashes of greatness, and once he adjusts to the pace of the NFL, the depth chart could change quickly. Moving to running back, the situation is even more intriguing. Tony Pollard's departure in free agency left a gaping hole in the backfield, and many thought this would be Rico Dowdle's year to take over. But according to the depth chart, second-year back Deuce Vaughn is currently listed as Arbonne, which stunned quite a few people. Vaughn, the explosive and undersized playmaker out of Kansas State, had a few standout moments last season, but few expected him to leapfrog more experienced options this early. Right behind Vaughn is veteran Ezekiel Elliott, who made his return to Dallas this offseason. Zeke looked physically rejuvenated during camp, and sources close to the team suggest he could still play a major role, especially in short yardage and pass protection situations. Behind them, Dowdle and rookie Nathaniel Pete round out the depth, making the running back room one of the most competitive and unpredictable units on the roster. Now on to the wide receivers, arguably the Cowboys' strongest and deepest unit this year. CeeDee Lamb is, of course, W-Roan, and he's had an electric training camp, looking faster, sharper, and more confident than ever. He's followed by Brandon Cooks, who brings veteran speed and reliability to the outside. But the real surprise here is Jalen Tolbert being listed as the W3. After a rocky rookie year and inconsistent performances, Tolbert has turned heads in Oxnard with his improved route running and hands. Michael Gallup, once expected to be the team's second or third option, has now slipped further down the chart. This signals a potential changing of the guard in the receiver room. Gallup's future with the team is now seriously in question. Meanwhile, rookies Ryan Flournoy and Jalen Cropper have earned honorable mention at the bottom of the depth chart, showing they could push for reps if injuries hit or someone underperforms. The tight end position also saw some surprising developments. Jake Ferguson remains at the top of the chart after a breakout campaign in 2024. But Luke Schoonmaker, the highly touted second-round pick from a year ago, has now been moved to third string behind Peyton Hendershot. Schoonmaker has struggled with nagging injuries and inconsistent play, and this drop down the depth chart is a direct reflection of that. The coaching staff clearly wants production over draft pedigree, and it's becoming obvious that the battle for tight end reps will be one of the fiercest in camp. Hendershot's chemistry with Prescott has been noticeable, and if that continues, we could see a reshuffling in offensive formations that leans more heavily on 12 personnel sets featuring Ferguson and Hendershot. Then there's the offensive line where the Cowboys' depth chart might be sounding some alarms. Tyron Smith is gone, and in his place, rookie Tyler Guyton has been penciled in as the starting left tackle. Guyton has tremendous upside, but this is a massive leap in responsibility for a rookie tackle. The rest of the line includes Tyler Smith at left guard, Brock Hoffman at center, Zach Martin at right guard, and Terrence Steele holding down the right tackle spot. What's troubling, however, is the lack of experienced depth behind the starters. Josh Ball and Matt Waletzko haven't shown enough consistency to instill confidence, and the injury bug is always a threat. This unit may be just 1 or 2 injuries away from full-on chaos, which makes the offensive line arguably the most vulnerable area on the team heading into preseason. Switching over to the defense, there were some equally eyebrow-raising choices. At cornerback, Trayvon Diggs is still listed as CB1 despite not being fully cleared to return from his ACL tear. Darren Bland holds down the other starting corner spot, while Jordan Lewis slides into the nickel role. But what's fascinating is the reemergence of Noah Benigine, who many thought was on the roster bubble, now listed as CB4. His camp performance has reportedly been stellar, and the coaches seem intent on giving him another shot to prove his value. If Diggs isn't ready by week 1, Benigine could see starting reps alongside Bland, which nobody predicted just a month ago. At safety, the Cowboys are sticking with their trusted trio of Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, and Jaron Kearse. But rookie safety Kalen Carson has surged up the chart and is now listed as the primary backup. He's been one of the most impressive rookies in camp, showing great instincts and range. This might be a sign that the Cowboys are grooming him as a potential long-term replacement for Kearse, whose contract expires at the end of the season. Kearse himself acknowledged the challenge, stating in interviews that competition only makes the room stronger, but he knows the pressure is on. The linebackers also raised a few eyebrows. Micah Parsons, of course, is listed as a hybrid edge rusher, essentially filling both linebacker and defensive end roles. But Leighton Vander Esch, who's been battling injuries, is now third on the depth chart at middle linebacker. In his place, Damone Clark and DeMarvion Overshown are now getting first-team reps. Overshown, returning from a torn ACL suffered last preseason, has looked like a man on a mission. He's fast, physical, and seems to be everywhere on the field. His rise has been one of the most inspiring stories of camp, and his spot on the depth chart proves he's being taken seriously as a difference maker. Along the defensive line, the usual suspects DeMarcus Lawrence and Osa Odigizua anchor the front, but the listing of Mazi Smith as a third-string defensive tackle is raising some serious concerns. Last year's first-round pick was expected to be a foundational piece, but injuries and a lack of explosiveness have limited his impact. Jonathan Hankins and rookie Justin Rogers are now ahead of him on the chart. If Smith doesn't improve quickly, he could be in danger of sliding completely out of the rotation, which would be a major disappointment given the expectations placed on him coming out of Michigan. On special teams, there's some good news and some uncertainty. Brandon Aubrey retains the kicker job after a solid showing last year, while Brian Anger continues as the team's punter. But in the return game, rookie wide receiver Jalen Cropper has been listed as the primary punt and kick returner. That's a big leap for a rookie who barely made the roster bubble. If he can consistently deliver in the return game, it could be his ticket to long-term security with the team. But one muffed punt in the preseason could change everything. So what does all of this mean for the Cowboys as they head into their first preseason game against the Rams? Well, it means we're looking at a team in transition. This depth chart is a signal from the coaching staff that the days of relying solely on name recognition and draft status are over. Performance is what counts now. It's also a sign that Mike McCarthy and the front office are willing to be bold. Whether it's trusting rookies with massive responsibilities, demoting underperforming veterans, or shuffling the deck entirely on both sides of the ball, this team is clearly not afraid to shake things up. It also tells us that the next few weeks of preseason football aren't just exhibitions, they're auditions. Every snap, every rep, every special teams play could tilt the balance of the roster. And while the final 53-man roster won't be announced until the end of August, this initial depth chart gives us a powerful preview of what the Cowboys might look like when the Rio bullets start flying in September. We'll be watching closely as this team takes the field against the Rams in what's sure to be a fiery and physical preseason opener. Will the rookies hold up under pressure? Will the veterans bounce back and reclaim their spots? Will surprise names continue to rise through the ranks? One thing's for sure, this depth chart has already set the tone for a wild, unpredictable, and highly competitive 2025 season in Dallas. Buckle up, Cowboys fans. The ride is just getting started. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay locked in for all the latest Cowboys developments, training camp news, roster moves, and more, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. We'll be back with more exclusive analysis and insider reports as the season inches closer. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys!